Marsha here with you today. Welcome back to another edition of the Third Intermission podcast. I have a very special guest with me here today, the founder of the amazing organization Black Girl Hockey Club and newly published author of Blackness is a Gift I Can Give Her on race, community, and Black women in hockey. Renee, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hey girl, how's it going?
It's so good. I'm so happy to get to be able to talk to you today on all of the things.
All
Exciting
the
conversations.
things. All the things.
Before I jump into questions, I wanted to preface by saying huge thank you to you for your vulnerability, your prowess as it pertains to the book, as it pertains to BGHC, all of the work you've done over the past couple of years. Um, for me, finding you and the work that you've done gave me the courage to apply to be on this podcast. So we're here, we're doing great things, we're sharing our voices. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, I love to hear that. Thank you for sharing that with me. I
Yeah,
receive it in all of its goodness. Thank you.
so appreciated. Okay, so to jump in, as I was reading the book, a quote that I really, really appreciated is near the beginning. We began to build a community while also centralizing our own interests, allowing room, excuse me, for learning and growth. In those early days, what would you say some of that learning and growing looked like for you and for others?
For me, I think, and for others, particularly in like the leadership of BGHC, it was learning to, build something from scratch with essentially a bunch of strangers that come together under with the understanding that we are passionate about hockey, we're passionate about Black women, and we want to build a community. So how do we go about doing that? And with those, kind of interests, shared interests in mind, we were starting something that had really never been done before in hockey spaces, like to that magnitude. And, making sure that we were not just centering ourselves and our individual needs, but also looking at the big picture. I never played hockey, right? So I never really knew how to get into the mind of a hockey player and what a hockey player experiences and needs as they're actively playing the game. I don't know anything about. And so swallowing my pride and learning to talk to people, particularly Black women who had played hockey or did have kids who played hockey, that was a learning experience for me because I realized that it's okay not to know everything, that it's even better when you don't know it and you can ask somebody for help and then acknowledge that they gave you that help. I think that the concept of horizontal leadership really was imprinted on us from the beginning because the organization was initially founded. I'm a nerd. Like I like to read and I like to write. Sports is very new to me. Business is very new to me. I had to really let down my guard and trust that, the team around me, we all had the same interests, we all had the same values, and that we could agree to disagree sometimes, and also be willing to admit when we were wrong. I think that's a huge thing in the BGHC space and publicly admit it too, not just privately, but utilize our platform on social media, to say when we're wrong and to say when we're still learning and to say when we need help. That's been a big learning curve, I think, for I don't know. I don't want to I can't speak for Black women in general, but just in general, admitting that we need support too is, historically not easy for Black women to even say out of our own very private spaces. And so I think BJHC acknowledges that a bit. And, we try to recognize that we as individuals maybe don't know everything and can't do everything, but when we lean on each other, we can literally accomplish so freaking much.
Yeah. I know it's so true. I really think of how much we have to keep this strong woman, super resilient face to the world when it's not always that easy.
It's
Monday,
never that easy. It's literally never that easy, right? I don't think it's easy for any of us. And that's something that I learned while interviewing, people like Bernice Carnegie and Blake Bolden. and Sarah Nurse and even Kim Davis. Like, it's not easy. Thank God I have my friends and my girls and my crew and my community, or else I wouldn't be able to do it. That was the common theme across with those women.
Yeah. And building that group of people for yourself, did you find it was something instantaneous when you kind of were established, like the Kim Davises and the Sarah Nurses? Did that kind of come to you, or were you still seeking it?
Oh, it's not easy at all. And I don't think it's easy to maintain, right? Like any of us that have really powerful and intense relationships, whether they're, in with a significant partner or a friend group, like it's something you have to maintain on a regular basis. And it's something that doesn't come easy because I think in our society, we're so individualistic and we're so focused on self that we don't equate the importance of community care as a way to participate in self-care, you know?
Mhm.
And so, no, it wasn't easy for me. It was something I constantly had to work at and continue to work at. And I'm not always great because I'm kind of introverted, and it's not always easy for me to kind of get out of my shell. But I find when I do, it is incredibly rewarding.
Mhm.
And being vulnerable allows people to see that they too can be vulnerable, I think, with me and in this space. And that if we can actually let our guard down with each other, then we can accomplish so much more, and that's something I'm constantly working on myself
Mhm.
as just a human in this space of the world that we occupy, let alone, in my work with hockey. So it's a constant kind of ebb and flow, I think, but just like any relationship, I got to put in work and work and work and work. And then sometimes I'll be like, I can't do it. And then my crew will be like, we got you, and that is, I mean, that's invaluable to me.
Course. And I really appreciate that kind of grounding sense of it's okay. It's hard, but it's okay. And having those people behind you is so important, especially when they understand the gravity of the work that you're doing, recognizing that they also have a lot that they have to focus on. It doesn't have to be a constant back and forth. We're talking every single day, every minute, every second, every hour. Um, and it helps create balance, I guess, is one way to put it too. Yeah.
Yeah, we all need that balance in our lives. And I think that women and Black women are able to do that in a way that is incredibly special and unique. And I strive to kind of have always tried to teach my daughter how to, develop those relationships with other women and femmes, because there's just something incredibly special about having, somebody who shares those life experiences with you. And I really, really wanted that. But in hockey, I honestly didn't think that it was going to happen in the way that it did. But I'm just astounded and blessed every day by what has been shown to me in that space, because it wasn't something I necessarily like created out of thin air. It was just kind of, let's push it together, circle the tents, as they say, and work together to kind of be in this space. And it's been incredibly fruitful.
Mm. And for those of the future, your daughter included, how how do you think she sees it? Have y'all ever had those discussions?
Um, well, I know that she sees my relationship with my women friends as something that's inspiring. She has told me that before. With Black Girl Hockey Club specifically, uh, she sh my daughter started high school right around the time I started Black Girl Hockey Club, and she started playing sports, right around that same time as well, and it was really, helpful for both of us because I began to understand in a way that I hadn't how to, the team dynamic, how to work on a team, how teams engage with one another because I was watching hockey and she was just learning how to do that because she was playing on a team, right? And so I was able to kind of use what I was learning in hockey to encourage her as she was kind of figuring out how to be a good teammate. And then I would get to go watch her play and be in those kind of sports spaces that I never really was in when I was her age, right? I didn't grow up watching hockey. I don't know how to play hockey. Never really engaged in sports. I was more sitting on the sidelines reading a book. That was
Mhm.
me, and so all of that kind of happened at the same time when she was playing and I was watching and learning. And I think it was really helpful for our relationship at that time that we could rally around this concept of team sports when she was in high school, and I was kind of navigating through the ordeal of being a parent of a high schooler, right? What do you even have in common with a teenager at that time? So that was really cool, and I think that it gave it gave her the opportunity to give me some grace, as I was kind of navigating this new experience with her. And I also was trying to be as supportive, a sports parent as I could, which I don't know if I would have had the tools to do that without hockey, that was just something that I kind of I gave more credence to as I got into the sport. I might have, scoffed a bit at it a few years before if I hadn't had that opportunity to really fall in love with hockey. So I think that that actually did help our relationship a little bit at that time. So I think that she kind of recognizes that too. And then when we were in Toronto just last week, or this week, earlier this week, for the book launch. It was the first time she got to see me work on television and stuff like that, which I do with BJHC a lot. But I was doing it for the book, and she was a little starstruck, which was kind of funny. I don't really think about it too much. I just do the work and keep my head down and do it. But she's in there, in the green room, and I'm getting my makeup done, and she's like, "Oh, wow, this is real," and she came up and gave me a hug at the book launch, was like, "I'm so proud of you, mom." And that, warmed my heart. And then, she went back to giving me a hard time, as she tends to do, as she should.
A brief moment where you weren't just mom. You were
Exactly. A brief
mom.
moment of reprieve, then back at it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And it also keeps you on your toes too.
Yeah, yeah.
And seeing those little moments come out, it brings me to the joy, and joy being a marker of our resistance and it being something that we predominantly talk about. But I remember there was an article that I was interviewing folks for a couple years ago. I was doing this Black History Month supplement, and Black Girl Hockey Club was one of the focuses of the article. And I spoke to some Black track athletes, one of them, a friend, Irene, and she also mentioned hope. Um, and I think it's because of the kind of work that this requires. It's there, but it's not as prominently talked about as joy. Um, what would you say is something that you hope for, whether it be a couple days from now, couple weeks, couple years?
That's such a good question. And you're right. We don't talk about hope as much. I think I mentioned in the launch event at TMU this week that I'm an unfortunate optimist. I use that term a lot because unfortunately, I'm an optimist, and I do have hope for the sport of hockey, or else I wouldn't be in this space. I hope that it's better for the kids. I hope that it's better for me. I hope that it's better for you and your friends and your family. And that next time I go to a hockey game by myself in my town without BGHC, that I do see other Black girls there. those are the things, the little things that I hope for. And then I think of the big picture and I hope that the NHL hires more Black women. I hope that
Come
Hockey
on.
Canada gets their stuff together, and that Hockey USA follows suit.
Mhm.
Those are my hopes, and just that we can find a way to continue to push hockey to be as amazing a sport as we all know that it is, without the racism, without the misogyny, without the xenophobia and the homophobia. And I hope that all those losers that buy into those things leave hockey. That's what I hope for us, honestly. Like, bye, you can't have this sport anymore. You feel too uncomfortable being here because everything is, rainbow and sunshine and you hate joy, that leave this to us then. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But then also, like, things don't always have to be so serious. Why are you so angry all the time that we're having fun at a game, or we're angry that we missed a goal with like 2 seconds left? Like, all those things, it's just, why did we have to make it be something so rigid?
Yeah, it's just a game.
We're
Right?
back
It's
at that.
just a game and it's meant to be fun, not just for the players and the people who make money off of it, but also those of us who are spending our money to engage in it, whether, we're putting our kids in it or whether we're buying season tickets or just one because everything's so expensive, or we're spending our money on jerseys. We are also part of this culture. And I hope that it doesn't, hurt people's feelings or offend them because we're here. But if it does, that's not really my problem. That's their problem.
Agree. Yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm thinking fun. And a fun little random, very, very random question that popped into my head. If you were at a Pens game and they needed someone to go down to center ice because they're hosting a contest game type thing, and you were one of the contestants, what game out of some that you've seen do you think you would excel at the most?
Okay, you know the one where they like put the thing under the cups and they move it around like that? I win that every time. I have the eyes of a goalie, okay? I'm not I see everything. So
Every movement.
I don't think that they bring you down to center ice for that.
Like
So,
on the level.
but if they did, I would win that one. The one I would not win would be the one where you're in those like circle things and you have to like the balls, the
Oh,
plastic
like the bubble, like
bubble thing, and
the
you have
bubble
to like
thing.
run. I would fall. It would
No.
be a disaster, and
My
I would.
vision is already not good as it is, so I
Yeah.
can imagine through that. Oh my God.
It's me. For me, it's my balance. Yeah, my hand-eye coordination's horrible, and I would definitely fall immediately, and then I would have to leave the country, and you would never see me again. It would be a whole thing. Yeah.
Maybe opportunity for someone like Marc-Andre Fleury to give you hand-eye lessons.
Oh my
Get one of those little, like, the ball that they do against the wall.
yeah. Flower, if you hear this, call me.
Exactly, exactly. And last fun thing to wrap it up. Since though we don't really recognize the holiday, there is a lot of good food coming out of it. American Thanksgiving coming up. What would you say is your favorite comfort food?
Oh gosh, I'm lactose intolerant, but I make mac and cheese every year still, because my sister and my best friend Marble have great recipes, so I combine them and I make mac and cheese. And then honestly, I don't really get to eat it like I used to. But I always make it for the kids because they're like, we love your mac and cheese. And I like, being told that my mac and cheese is good. So
Oh,
that
yes.
one, and then I like to make cranberry sauce with actual cranberries and like cinnamon and orange juice and stuff like that, brown sugar, and put it on jam, like use it as jam for the rest of the month of November. So those two things have to be on my table in the final months of the year, whatever meals that we're making. Like I am probably going to be cooking mac and cheese a few times and making cranberry sauce and using it on my toast and biscuits. And nobody else will eat the cranberry sauce, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like, oh, you don't like it? More for me.
Yeah. You freeze it, save it for later, all the fun stuff.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Renee, for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. Fun convos all the time. Have
Always, always good to see you, Marsha.
you as well.